year we saved London £93 million.
It's hardware with a mobile app designed to help you relax, switch off, and if you want to, fall asleep.
Don't think about the things that you're going to hear about, the millions or the billions of interconnected things. Think of them, each of them, as a data point. Think of them as an opportunity to gather data and insight about how services are being used, how devices are being used, how we can use that data to redesign entire enterprises, think of new business models, to make cities fit for purpose in the 21st century. London's a city that was never designed for the 21st century. It's grown up from dozens of towns and communities over centuries. But the IoT is going to help us redesign cities and services for cities. One of the big challenges we face in this country and in the West generally over the next decade, 2 decades, is old people in old cities. In Asia and Africa, they face a different challenge, which is young people in young cities, very different set of challenges. And in every case, the Internet of Things is going to be part of that conversation.
Thomas Watson was the president of IBM, said, I can see a worldwide market of 5 big computers. So we all know that 5 was absolutely underestimated. It's very difficult as humans, as individuals, really be able to forecast the future. But we at Breed, we have a clear understanding of what are the key drivers of that revolution. What we can see is that the expectation is huge. The expectation is of basically a number ranging from $4 to $11 trillion of revenue per year, starting from 2025. IoT is about obviously collect good quality of data, be able to analyze those data through machine learning engines and come up with insights and forecast what is going to happen. But most importantly, IoT is being able to develop specific solution for the specific market. And the market is so huge that there will be opportunities for everybody. The point here is to get there first.
One, industrial has now overtaken consumer. Two, what we have seen in the US is now coming over to Europe. And I think actually one prediction in the next 5 years is actually volumes and values will probably start to move more in the favor of Europe with more European buyers. Technology players or industrialists that get the power of IoT can see where the future opportunity is and are happy to deploy capital at relatively high prices to build out their stack rapidly. So Google is a good example in terms of buying platforms, buying analytics businesses, buying AI businesses, buying Nest, buying Dropcan. They've really pushed it out. But actually, again, examples of others would be the PTCs, the Verizons of the world. And on the industrial side, you will see more and more of that development, both at 50s, hundreds of millions, all the way up to the $1 billion plus valuations. So one trend that we have seen in the first 5 years that I think will be different in the next 5 to 10 years is horizontal versus vertical. So horizontal, the nature of building out a platform and being able to spread yourself across multiple vertical markets. Right across that space, you will see platforms going for good money. I think the reality now, when you look at the nature of the buyers, as you move to either more traditional buyers or people on the edge of the technology space, is that they will be looking for much more specific technology propositions.
You need to improve food production by 60% to feed 10 billion people in 2050. We're building an AI that's going to grow food more sustainably. We've used sensors to understand and learn the behavior of dairy cows. And we are the only company right now that also understands the behavior of the farmer. The data that we collect from IoT devices together with the experience and intuition of humans. That's what we're really up to. The other thing that we do, and this is where the IoT angle comes in, yes, we do have a piece of hardware. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it's a data set that we get from the hardware that gives us the edge on the AI side of things.
This is our logo, and if you look at what's underneath, is one planet, one health. And that, of course, in a few words, emphasizes the things that we do. So technology drives our business very key. For sustainable milk production, sustainable on farm, and it's not just a fashionable word, but really for on farming, because we need to have farmers in the future. Because no farmers, no milk, no yogurt, no business. Very clear. Transparency and traceability. People need to know, how do you produce it? Where does it come from? 50% of our CO2 is coming from the cows. And the Internet of Things is going to help us tremendously on this one. What if our sensors can predict and tell us what will be our carbon footprint next year? Because maybe then we need less trucks, or we need something else. That's continuously what we're looking for, and that's, as an industry, that is our need. So we have several projects very locally, and we do that most of the time. It's also a part of the introduction that I heard this morning. We do that also most of the time with very small startups. We are a global company, but we work very locally. We have local factories, and if a local factory sees an opportunity with a local startup, they go with that. And then, of course, we always explore to see what can we take from this example locally to use it globally.
Insurance is based on the principle that we pay a claim if something goes wrong. We think that with IoT particularly, we can turn that on its head, 180, and say actually we can predict and we can prevent something going wrong in the first place. And that is transformational for the business model. Over the last few years, we've seen us and others actually really start to invest in the InsurTech landscape and put a lot of capital behind that type of investing. We co-invest with Breed, partly why we're here today, and Appy Parking is one of those investments that you see over there. Imagine a world in which a sensor has actually identified that leak when it started, say 6 weeks ago when the drip, drip, drip just began, and actually there's a notification and we can fix that for you for £5 rather than £50,000 and a whole heap of hassle. Imagine a world, and we've talked a lot about health, where early detection and sensor technology can actually refocus our proposition much more about wellness and keeping you well and on track than about fixing stuff and when things have gone wrong. We have an investment in a company called Alstone Medical. This is an early detection sensor and device which takes biomarkers in breath to deliver early detection of lung cancer. That fundamentally changes the insurance business model, because actually, as most people will know, that for £1 of premium that we take in from insurance, we pay out between 60 and 100p of that in a claim. So imagine a world in which those claims are not being paid. That changes our business model. It also changes the customer experience. It changes our proposition. It fundamentally flips the industry from fixing stuff when it's gone wrong to preventing stuff going wrong in the first place.